Janelle Friesen. It's January 14th, and this is our weekly update from the UG Public Health Department. I'm the Public Information Officer with the Health Department. I am here once again with Julianne Van Loo, our Director, and we have a new guest here today. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, Janelle. My name is, I'm Rev Tony Carter. I pastor the Salem Baptist Church in Kansas City, Kansas. I also have the awesome privilege of working with good people like yourselves on the Health Equity Task Force. So glad to be here today.
Really glad to have you here. So I understand that you just got your first dose of the vaccine recently. Do you want to talk about that?
Absolutely. A very positive experience. No problems, no worries. Everything went according to plan. And it was a good experience. I don't have any side effects to mention, other than that right shoulder of mine is a little sore. But beyond that, I haven't had any other side effects. It was a good experience. The people there were very kind, very knowledgeable as it relates to what they were doing. The flow with the health department there at the Kmart site was very controlled. I felt safe, and it was just a good experience overall. It was very well handled, well orchestrated.
I'm really glad to hear that. We're pretty proud of what our staff have been able to do out at that site so far.
Absolutely.
I'd be interested to hear you talk about why you decided to get the COVID vaccine.
Well, there's so much misinformation out there, and I think it's important for those of us who are in quasi-leadership positions to lead by example. And I've always been a person who likes to lead from the front. I've paid attention to all of the data. I've paid attention to the science. I watch the news, and all of the data coming from the CDC and from our health department, who is top notch as far as I'm concerned, have talked about how important it is for us to get a handle on this spread by being vaccinated. And we certainly are just at the beginning of that. And based on my work at the task force and my exposure as a result of that, I was able to get it a little earlier than some, but we're expecting that it's going to come. And according to the guidelines issued by the CDC and by the KDHD here in the state of Kansas, we're all going to have those opportunities. And so I just feel like it's important for us to get control of this spread. We have an extremely high positivity rate here in our county. And I've been paying attention to the things that are going on. And it's important to continue to wear our masks and wash our hands and practice social distancing and doing all of those things. And even though I've had the vaccine, I'm going to continue to do that because that's important. That's part of the information. That's part of the guidelines that are out there. And so I want to help us to get beyond this. And the vaccine gives us the best opportunity to begin to get a handle on this. And getting the vaccine as well as wearing the mask and washing hands and doing those things are important. And then I'll say this, we need to also have a plan. We just got out of the political scene or scenarios whereby we were encouraging people to have a plan to vote. I think we need to have a plan as well to receive the vaccine. And so when our group or age group or whatever the dynamics are available, we need to make sure we've made a plan to get vaccinated, because it's the best way to decrease the spread in our community and thereby get a handle on this.
Thank you so much. I don't think I could have said any of that better myself. I do want to hear a little bit from Julianne. I'm so glad to hear that Reverend Carter, that you haven't had much in the way of side effects after your first dose, other than that sore arm, which is very, very common. Julianne, I know we hear a lot of people saying that they're worried about side effects. Do you want to talk a little bit about what we've seen so far from the trials and from other folks getting vaccinated in terms of what they can expect with that?
Absolutely. So what we see in the trials and what is now playing out right in front of our own eyes is that the vast majority of folks have a singular symptom, and that is soreness at injection site, right? That's the exact same I had. I just used it as an excuse to not do my workout that night, and was lucky by the next day that it was completely gone. There will be 10 to 15% of folks who have another kind of side effect. It could be a mild fever, it could be body aches, it could be I just don't quite feel myself, right? Like a lot of people feel when they have the flu or a cold or some other minor ailment, and are just kind of under the weather. So that is not uncommon. We are hearing that that tends to be a little bit more severe on the second dose of the vaccine. It's part of the reason why we're really encouraging, when we're working with healthcare providers or folks who are next in line to make sure that they're not sending us their entire staff at once in case for that second dose they all are feeling pretty crummy the next day. So we're planning to vaccinate our K through 12 educators very soon. And a lot of that will happen at the end of the week on Fridays so that we make sure we don't pull all of our teachers out of class. So, side effects are common from the vaccine. They actually are a positive sign that your body is building an immune response. There is nothing abnormal about that. We just want folks to know that we here at our health department and at our Kmart site do take it very seriously. And we do have professionals on site if there ever were some sort of adverse reaction. But by and large, we're just seeing sore arms.
Yeah. And you mentioned that there can be some more side effects after dose number 2. Maybe, you feel like you have a cold or something. My understanding is that that's usually like a day or two. You might feel a little off, but then, those side effects will clear up and you'll be on your way feeling okay. Is that what you have heard from the data so far as well?
Yes, 24 hours seems to really be it. Some folks up to 48 hours, but oftentimes by that 24-hour mark, folks are feeling much better.
Yeah. So Reverend Carter, how are you feeling about going into dose 2?
Well, I'm excited because again, I have a mother who lives in Mississippi, and I haven't been able to see her since this time last year. And the biggest part of that rationale is because I don't want to go and take a chance on infecting her, nor do I want to, in traveling, get infected. So she and I was talking the other day, and I said, "Mom, she's 84, by the way, and she is scheduled to be getting her vaccine here in the next week or so in Mississippi. So when she has her vaccine and I've had mine, and then after a appropriate period of time after that, we're hoping that I can get a chance to go and see her. So that's one of my motivations. But I thought about something else in my experience at receiving the vaccine is that after I received the vaccine, they put us into a holding area for 15 to 20 minutes after to make sure that you don't have any side effects or reactions to this. So that was one of the other positive things is that everything is so well orchestrated and well planned. And I was excited again to see the level of concern that the health department has demonstrated by doing it that way. So.
All right. Well, I know we don't have a lot of time, so I want to wrap us up here pretty soon. But Reverend Carter, is there anything else you'd like to share?
Well, I do want to encourage the general public that this is extremely safe and that it is necessary. There have been some historical things that have happened way in the past that has caused a lot of people to be hesitant about this. But I want to assure them that every precaution has been taken, and there is no reason not to receive something that's going to help us to get back to a place to where we can begin interacting more so with each other. I do realize as well that there is a period of time, even after we are vaccinated, that we still need to continue to wear a mask, continue to wash our hands appropriately, and to be socially distanced, and all of those things, because that's going to help us as a whole get a handle on this, and it increases the chance of us getting back to things the way we want them to be. I miss being at church, and I'm looking forward to that. And being vaccinated is one of the steps in the process of getting us back there. So thank you all for having me today.
Thank you for being an incredible spokesperson and for sharing your story. I truly believe It's hearing from people we know and trust that's going to help people feel comfortable with the vaccine, not hearing from doctors who are at a podium, right? And so you do us a great service by being among us. Thank you, Reverend.
Well, I love my family. I love my grandchildren. I have 12 grandbabies. And so I miss interacting with them. And that too is part of my motivation and part of why I want to do everything I can to impact this positively.
Well, as we wrap up, I want to make sure people know if they're interested in getting the vaccine, how they can, find out when it's their turn and be ready to come in as soon as the phases move along and they're able to do so. If you go to our website, wicokck.org/COVID-19, there are some buttons at the top, and there's one that says WICO Vaccine Interest Form. And you can fill that out. You can fill it out as an individual resident of Wyandotte County or as an organization like a church or a community group or as a business, and fill out the information in there and put in some contact info so that you can get updated on vaccine availability and eligibility. So again, as we get more vaccine supplies, as we move through those phases, finding out when you're going to be able to come through so that we can get people in, know who's interested in getting vaccinated, and start moving that through and getting more people in as we're able to.
I would especially encourage if you're 65 and older, or if you have a family member who's 65 and older, you will be eligible in phase 2, which could happen very soon, as early as next week or the week after. So if you have older people in your life, help them out, help them find that survey, or send them to 311, who can also fill that out over the phone on their behalf. However they fill it out, we just want them to fill it out so that as soon as we have vaccine, we can call you and get you in here. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you, Julianne. Thank you, Janelle.